I'm happy to introduce my friend. Her name is Susan Kendall. And I just want to give you a little brief background. On May 20th, wow, 10 years almost, May the 20th, 2014, Susan's world came crashing down. Her 54-year-old husband passed of a sudden heart attack. The years since have been a whirlwind of emotion, trauma, and joy. Yes, joy, she writes. Mostly the birth of her grandchildren, I think, has brought you that joy. Over the next 5 years, Susan experienced additional heartache following the death of her dad and both her brothers. She knew the only way to make sense of all of her grief and honor her men was to find purpose and help others experiencing loss. In particular, she wanted to educate others on how to support those who are grieving because this was an obvious necessity that is neglected in our society. So, Susan increased her vast experiential knowledge with a coaching certificate and David Kessler's grief education certification. And Susan's message is, let's normalize death before it kills you. And Susan and I connected through Alicia, who's part of Peaceful Transitions, and I'm very grateful for that connection, Susan. And I know that this is a free-form question and answer, so it's a little different than presentations you've seen before. But I guess the first question I think a lot of people want to know is, why did you start Evolve Beyond Death?
Evolve Beyond Grief?
Grief.
I really began it because I noticed that after a certain amount of a lot of time, and it really depends on the relationship to you, to those who died, you're no longer allowed to talk about it. It's usually about a year, give or take. And I realized that the only place, friends, family, coworkers, they don't want to hear about it anymore. They want you to move on because they're not comfortable. And I realized the only place people were really talking was online to strangers because they have this desperate need to talk. They're alone, they're lonely, it's incredibly unhealthy for your mentally and physically. And I understood we need to learn how to talk to those who are grieving.
How do we normalize grief?
Well, that's a huge question, and what I feel is we've normalized other taboos in life. Cancer was a huge one. Back in my mother's day, you were only allowed to say the C word, you weren't allowed to use the word cancer. Certainly same-sex marriage, we've normalized, thank God, in Canada and elsewhere in the world. There's other taboos that we've normalized, and the way that's done is through education, through communication, through speaking and doing things like this. I really believe that a conversation about grief has to be done in high school, maybe even a course on how to write your own will, how to talk to people who are grieving, because by high school nowadays, most people know someone in addition to a grandparent who's died, including pets. So my answer is communication and conversation and get it out from being hidden.
Okay, my next question. You've created a helpful list of do's and don'ts for people to better understand how to support those who are grieving. Can you offer a couple of your suggestions? We've got a short amount of time here, but please hit me with the greatest hits on maybe the worst things to say along with the greatest things to say.
Well, you know some of them. What's your favorite?
Oh, well, he's in a better place. I hate that. I hate that. And it's going to be okay. You're going to be fine.
Yeah, so that's one of the don'ts. It's called platitudes. We don't like platitudes. We don't want to be told he's going to be, he's in a better place. God gives, pain or whatever it is, challenges, and you only get what you can receive. I mean, you don't want to hear any of that crap. So that's a big, fat don't. Yes, the positive is talk about the person. Everyone's afraid to talk about the person, to give memories because they think that the person who's grieving is okay at that moment, and if you mention the person that died, it'll bring them right back again, like an elephant in the room. That is so not true. All we want is to keep the memories of the person alive. So when I can get another gem of a memory that I did not know, or just a reminder about something that I'd forgotten, it makes me remember that my loved ones were cared about, they were loved, they're remembered, and they're thought about, and it really soothes the soul.
And the final question, Susan, how can people contact you?
That's easy. Just type in Evolve Beyond Grief, and I'm on IG, I'm on Facebook, sort of, and I'm on, you can email me too. I mean, I'm around, and what I'd like to do, I mean, I work for free. I volunteer. So if you have a corporation or if you're just a group of people and you want to learn more about how you can support those who are grieving, I've done it many, many times for many organizations, and I'm happy to do it on FaceTime or in person. And it's really a gift that gives back, because eventually all those people who are learning how to support someone who's grieving will grieve, you know.
Thank you for being here today. There's a lot of people I know would love to talk to you. Thanks, folks. On to the next thing, we'll be at 1:30. Thank you. I want to introduce you to a lady who I believe is a walking angel, because she works with sick kids, and she works in a department that not many people want to even think about, which is kids who die and their parents. And I have a very deep connection with sick kids, so this one's personal for me. But Lori is also involved with something called the Bereavement Ontario Network, and I've interviewed them, I wrote about them, and I think the work they're doing so fits in with what this expo is about. And I know it's just a lot of things are happening in this room. The one thing I wanted to say to everybody listening is that this is all being taped, and there will be a full YouTube video which we're going to share. We're also going to try and go around, Peter and I, who's the expert videographer and editor, we're going to put together little mini interviews with all of you, if we will. And I guess what I want to tell you, Lori, is, you know, you were one of the first people that kind of understood what I was doing with this. And I sent her my book, and she it resonated. And I think it's all your fault. That's what I'm trying to say.
I own it.
Thank you, Lori. Here you go. The floor is yours.
Thank you. So thanks for giving me a couple of minutes. As Michael said, my name's Lori. I'm working with Natalie Poole, who's over at our BON table. Bereavement Ontario Network is now 34 years old. It's a group of professionals, volunteers, people who are interested in supporting those who are grieving, and so they're kind of a like-minded group of people here. And we're here because we want to make sure that everyone has networking opportunities. BON offers a conference every year. And unfortunately, since COVID, we've had to go virtual, but we've actually changed our conference to now offer it online 4 times a year for full day. And it gives you the opportunity, if you can't go because you're on vacation, if you're really lucky, if you're working and your boss won't let you step away, or you're working with a client, you can actually get the recordings as part of being part of the organization or a part of the conference itself if you're not a member. BON also has a website with resources for anybody in the public, and our members get to put up their own information. So for any of you who are organizations that don't belong to BON, think about it. It's a very minimal cost. There's organizational costs, there's individual membership costs, but they're not a lot of money, and they continue to give you opportunities. We even have somebody from the Yukon, she's from Illinois, I got it right, who has been part of our organization for the last 20 years because she had no one else to talk to. We offer the opportunity to have what we call poolside chats in the summer and fireside chats in the fall and winter. We are not physically together, we're all on Zoom, but it just gives us that place where we, as people who are supporting those who are grieving, can talk, because this world is not an easy one. We love what we do. Natalie happens to be a funeral director by training. I'm a nurse by training. I need to talk with like-minded people who get the dark humor I have some days, who get the fact that some of these stories I just literally got off of an email with a parent that break your heart. And so I think we all deserve the opportunity to be supported by other people who get us. So on behalf of BON, we'd love to have you join. Just go to bereavementontarionetwork.ca and you can find the registration information. And if you're working with people, check out our resources. I use the example as a sick kids employee. The families I work with don't all live in Toronto. They may be going back up to Northern Ontario. I have no clue who's in Northern Ontario to help them. But I, as a member of BON, can go onto our website, I can find another BON member and say, who's up in Temiskaming? And they'll say, well, actually, I know somebody who knows somebody who knows somebody else, and I get a counselor or a therapist who can be there for that family. I think this is what we have to do to ensure that the people we serve get met where they're at, as opposed to with only a single opportunity for them. So on behalf of BON, have a great afternoon. Michael, thank you for putting this together, and it's been fun working with you on it.